Oh hey, I wanted to preface this video real quick because I filmed it quite a while ago and I just wanted to, I mean, it'll become obvious, but I started this on November 10th, my birthday actually. And then it was a week and I think a bit of reading technically. These books have fully been in my like year wrap up at this point. One of them shows up in my top 10 books of the year. So I just wanted to give the heads up here. Like I didn't just read these books. I read these books a little bit ago, but I'm just now editing it together because obviously end of year videos, beginning of year videos, those were huge. Also this lighting. And obviously I wanted to get those out in like a timely manner. So then it made this video a little later than it should have been. But I still feel like it's a fun video. They're all three of the books that I end up reading in this video are very popular, like very big books. So I still wanted to, I don't know, share my thoughts. And I'm gonna be jumping back in because I lost one clip and I think I never filmed one clip, or maybe I lost both clips and I did film both, but I'm gonna jump back in to sum up some thoughts later. So see you then. It feels weird to be starting this video in the car, but I'm planning on like reading out today, so I wasn't sure when I'd be able to update, and I want to like do an intro to this. So basically for this video, I'm going to be reading dark academia books. So the first two were really easy for me to decide for this because they're already on my November TBR. So the first one is The Secret History, which is like the dark academia book. I'm really excited about it because I really loved The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. And this has been like on my list forever. And then the other book that's from my TBR that I didn't even realize was dark academia until like looking up for this video is The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. And then the third book, I have actually quite a few options. I like looked up what books are commonly considered dark academia and I own quite a few of them. So I'm not totally sure yet what the third book's gonna be. I assume that I'll make it to 3 books, but honestly The Secret History is pretty big. But I've heard that it reads fast, and I've heard the Da Vinci Code reads really fast, even though that one's also kind of, it's not huge, but it's not small either. But today is actually my birthday, and we have the day off of work for Veterans Day, which is technically tomorrow, but tomorrow's Saturday, so we get today off. So I think I'm going to treat myself by going to a cafe and reading. So I wanted to start this video now so that we can include that. As for The Secret History and what I know about it, basically I know that there's like a bit of a mystery. There's a group of friends and it takes place on a college campus in the Northeast. I did technically read the prologue and like a couple pages this morning just because I was excited, and I'm intrigued by the prologue for sure. Basically it was like this one person's dead and it seems as though this group of friends is responsible for it. Like in the prologue we find that out, which it feels weird to tell you because it feels like it should be spoilers, but it's not. But yeah, I'm excited to get a coffee, maybe some type of pastry or something, I don't know, and just read. So ignore the ridiculous getup that I'm wearing right now. I'm about to go for a long run, and so I've got my like water vest and everything, but before I left, I just wanted to update because I had been reading this morning and I've gotten to 120 pages in. So I'm about like a fifth of the way through, I would say at this point. I have a better feel for the writing, the characters, all of that. And I'm really enjoying it. There's not like a ton of intrigue, but it does have like, it drops these little hints of it. Not necessarily hints, just like foreshadowing, I guess, to like what's going to happen to one of the people in the group, which we already know a bit from the prologue. And it's not really mentioning much more than that, but it does give a sense of like, oh, something is coming. But the atmosphere is incredible. That can like make or break a book for me. So I've been absolutely loving the atmosphere of it, which makes sense because like that's all you hear about this book. Not all you hear, but a huge part of what you hear about this book is just that it is like dark academia vibes. And it is. It's set in Vermont and it's fall at a school, so like it fits it perfectly. It is making me really wish that we are getting any sort of fall here. It's so funny, the part that I read this morning is like really, it's a lot about cold. And there are a lot of descriptions of like being super cold. And when I woke up this morning in Florida and looked at the weather, it said that the humidity level was at 100%. So it's just really cool for the day that I'm doing this long run. But I guess I'm glad that it was like talking about very cold, so that maybe like heat will feel kind of nice. That's what I'm telling myself anyways. Although I've already like walked outside for a second today. I was like, ugh. So I am 300 pages in and I'm loving it. The end of book 1. I think that this book is split into 2 books, as in like 2 parts. And I did not expect, I can't talk about this without spoiling anything. I just didn't expect it to end the way that it did, which I guess maybe is silly of me. Maybe other people would. I don't know. But it was so good. And like as soon as I got to maybe like 50 pages out from the end of that and kind of started realizing that was what was gonna happen, I was like, oh man, I need to just like get there. And now that I've gotten there, I just need to keep going through book 2. I will say it is slightly annoying how long the chapters are. I hate to be that person that gets annoyed at long chapters. I think I get annoyed if I can't like read a whole chapter within one sitting. And some of these chapters are like 100 pages. Like the chapter I'm in right now, chapter 6, is 100 pages long. Like that's not even a chapter I would like read in one day typically. I probably will just because I'm reading like for this video, so I'm reading faster than I normally do. That is my only complaint, I think, at this point. I do struggle a little bit with like the Greek focused sections, but those were really more at the beginning. And I was still okay with it because it was giving me such dark academia vibes. Like, I feel like I get it. I get it now. But some things I'm really liking about this book. 1, the atmosphere is amazing. I think I've already talked about that. 2, the people in it and the relationships that they have with each other. I love when a book is set on a group of people and you know the relationship between each of like pairs of the groups of people. I would say you don't fully get that, or like you could get it more if you weren't from one person's perspective. But I think of all the perspectives of us to getting it from Richard's perspective, who is an outsider and like just started at this school and like barely made his way into this group to begin with. It's better seeing it from his perspective. And also it gave us like these really cool moments where, cause he's seeing them from the outside and they seem like this super exclusive group of people, which they are, but he kind of sees them as being like pretty cool and like mysterious, and he wants to like get in on that group. Although I would say he acts pretty nonchalant about it, but like you can tell, like that's what he wants. Cause that's, I mean, is what his aim feels like within like the first, 20 to 30 pages. But then like later you know that the other characters were thinking that he was kind of aloof, that like Richard was mysterious and like this newcomer and everything. It's like, oh yeah, I could totally see from their perspective how he would have seemed that way. But to him, he felt like so awkward and like just trying to get in on this group and not really saying the right thing or not knowing what to say. And so he wouldn't say anything. And then they were like, whoa, he's so mysterious. But now like we know all of the characters really well and they all have very distinct personalities. They all have pretty distinct styles within like the dark academia space. 2 of them I would say are pretty similar, but the rest kind of have their own unique take on the dark academia look. And I think that she did such a good job, like Donna Tartt did such a good job of introducing these characters and then expounding upon them. And there being these moments where you're like, oh, I didn't like think about that as being a part of their character, but that does fit. And I guess that like there were things that alluded to that earlier in the book. And so they're just like developing, and not necessarily like they're going through character development, but the characters are being developed in front of you. Like you're learning more and more and they're becoming more and more whole characters and whole people, which I am thoroughly enjoying. And then the plot picked up once we got to like the end of book 1 and the start now of book 2. And so everything is kind of hitting for me all at the same time. So this was the clip that I for sure lost, which was me summing up my thoughts on The Secret History. So to give my like full review of it, I really liked it. It was funnier than I thought. Like I was laughing at little moments, which I did not at all expect. I think the characters are set up so well, and they're all very like distinct, even though they all belong to the same group, and they've got a ton of similarities. And they also have like the same aesthetic, like that dark academia aesthetic. They still very much feel like their own people from each other. And I feel like that's pretty incredible to be able to do with how similar they are. Additionally, the atmosphere was just amazing. I absolutely loved that part of it. So very happy that I finally read this book. I am hoping to read The Little Friend this year, as in 2024, which is a very large book, but now the only Donna Tartt that I haven't read yet. I think that that all like fully sums up how I felt about The Secret History. I thought it was fantastic. I will see you again at the end of the video to fully wrap this up. Very frizzy hair, so please just pretend it's not. I'm reading the Da Vinci Code. And is it dark academia? Yeah, I would say so. I was a little bit cautious about this being classified as dark academia because it's not something I thought of beforehand. And when I was looking it up, you know, it's not like it was on every list, but also it's not as popular as like the other books that are on every list. I mean, it's a very incredibly popular book, but it's an older, incredibly popular book. But there's just so much, I'm actually like learning a lot. I don't know how much of this is true though. So I don't know if I'm like learning real things or not, but it sounds really cool. I feel like I'm gonna have to look up a lot afterwards, but I'll probably wait until I'm done with the book just in case like there's any spoilers, because they just found like the one object that I knew that was a part of this story. And so that's the only piece I knew out of this, besides it was kind of like a treasure hunt type situation, and that I always got it mixed up with National Treasure, which different country. Did those come out around the same time? I don't know why I get those confused. Maybe just because they're both kind of treasure hunty. Basically, it's about this professor of like symbols and stuff, and like this is a series, and this book I think is the second or third in the Robert Langdon series. But he has like a lot of knowledge about symbols and stuff, which makes him good at solving things like this, and maybe just like a good mind for that in general. So it's a little bit detective-y feeling, and that aspect is fun, but also it's just like, you know, like some clue has been left for him, and it seems to be a part of this like really huge thing. He's slowly kind of figuring out and like putting the pieces together. He has somebody helping him, so it's good because they have like their conversations to work things out, and it seems to be a good amount of each of them contributing, which is nice because sometimes that doesn't always happen. Sometimes like all the reveals are given to the like main detective like character. It seems like she's also getting quite a few, so that's nice. There are definitely some dated things, but not as bad as other books, I'm sure, of its same time period. There's like a group that's a part of it, and you get flashes to the main antagonist. I mean, he's a part of like a group, but like you get flashes to like one person in the group that's a large part of this, and like the story begins, like I think it's the prologue or the first chapter that begins with this guy like killing somebody. So you know he's not a good guy. And you're getting flashes to like what he's doing, which honestly I don't love. And like you already know that the thread that he's following is a false thread. Like you know that from the very beginning. So watching him, like flashing to those moments and watching him, you're like, okay, I can't wait till he actually does anything that progresses the story along. So I finished the Da Vinci Code this morning, and it was good. I think the ending is definitely the strongest part, like as the story more comes together. I think that I just thought that I was going to like it more than I did, or be more invested in it than I was. Like I definitely read it quickly, and I think there's something to be said about that. But part of me was just like, oh, I can't wait to like get past this book. And that was not the way I expected to feel. I was expecting to just like have a ton of fun like the entire time. And there were definitely a lot of moments of fun, but overall I didn't super care about like the outcome of the story. Although I did end up caring like right when it got to the end. The way it ended, I all of a sudden cared a lot. So that was nice. That was a good surprise. So basically there's this secret society in it that like the curator from the very, very beginning is a part of. And then there's another group that you know, not too much about at the beginning, but they're, I mean, essentially like the bad guys. And it's very like cultish feeling. It's tied to the Catholic Church. The thing that I struggled with was why this secret society on this side was any better than like the cult on this side. Or maybe like, okay, it was clear to see that it was better of the two, but that it wasn't also like not a good thing because it's very much a cult. Like maybe all secret societies are actually also just cults. And I don't know if this is just because I earlier this month did my cult video. I filmed my cult video where I read 3 books about cults, and one of them was a nonfiction book that talked about it. But like, it's very obvious to me that this secret society, at least the way that it's portrayed in this book, is a cult. And one of the characters in the book saw something, and basically we know that like whatever she saw, it ended up ruining a relationship in her life because she was like so put off by the idea of it, and it was something to do with the secret society. And then there's a lot of like this anticipation that's built up to finding out like what it was that she saw and what like the real meaning was or purpose was behind it. But when you find that out, like, it's still not good. It still very much seems like a cult thing. It seems like something that people would do because they are in this group and they're told that it's for this specific purpose, but that doesn't make it any different than like it being what it is. This is all very cryptic, but I'm hoping that people that have read the book understand what I'm saying, and people that haven't will understand why there was something there that like tripped me up, which is basically just that this secret society, it doesn't seem great. I wouldn't want to be in it personally. And you're kind of supposed to be like rooting for it the whole time. So like that was kind of hard for me, because while I am kind of like, okay, like you do you, as long as they're not being like manipulative about it, whatever. But it can also be like inherently a manipulation to be a part of a group that nobody else knows about, that you're not allowed to tell anybody else about. Like there's a lot of just inherent manipulation that goes into that. So that's a little dicey. And also, even if I feel like lukewarm about this, like neither good nor bad, that's not how I should feel about like the group I'm supposed to be rooting for. Okay, so for my next book, my last book I think for this video, I can't decide what I want to read. I thought I would talk through what I'm thinking of. Basically, I went online and was like, what are dark academia books, and saw if I had any of them. 2 of them I knew because I had just purchased them specifically because they were, well, not specifically because they were dark academia, but I had like the vague idea in my head that I was going to do this video. So one is A Silent Patient, and then the other one is If We Were Villains. I just bought both of these pretty recently, and I know that these often come up when referring to dark academia. And then the ones that I found online that I own that were dark academia is Vicious by V.E. Schwab, which I actually included in my unhaul video and said that I was gonna unhaul it, but it's just been, I've already like donated all of the books that I did have as a part of that, except for this one. I couldn't get rid of it. So I've kind of decided once again that I'd like to read it. And it turns out it's dark academia, so it would work for this. And then the other one that I didn't realize was A Little Life, which I don't even know why I pulled this off my shelf. We all know like this is not happening in this video. This is far too long. I've read 2 pretty lengthy books already, and so I would like a fast-paced, quicker read. Okay, I do really like the sound of this one, but it's very reminiscent of The Secret History, and I think I'd rather put some space in between those 2 books that I'm not like comparing them, but I do kind of want a thriller, so I think I'm gonna go with The Silent Patient. It's me, I'm back. You may have noticed that I had a lot less clips, like reading clips. And I also didn't update you, like in the middle of it, which I thought I had, but maybe I did like accidentally delete some footage or something. But anyways, oh, that lighting. Okay. Also, I'm moving. Did I say that? I should have said that. We are moving across the country. So currently we're in Florida, but we are moving somewhere else. I would love to see in the comments where you think we're moving. As some of you probably know already, but I don't think I've actually said it on the YouTube channel, but I probably will start posting about it on my Instagram very soon because I'm headed there this week to pick up keys to the new place and everything. But anyways, that's not what this is about. The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. So this was my first Alex Michaelides book. I have since read The Fury as well. And I have kind of complicated feelings about The Silent Patient because I feel like I would have really liked it had I read it when it came out. But I think that the things that it's doing, a lot of thrillers have done since then. And I don't know, that very well may have been like the one that popularized it to begin with. But for me, it was not my first time seeing this like kind of story being told. And it wasn't doing enough outside of that to really capture my attention. So I think I ended up giving it just like a solid 3 stars. Like, it's a good book. I don't think it's not a good book. But for me, it just wasn't doing a whole lot. So that's where I ended up, which kind of stinks. Okay, I think that wraps up everything for this discombobulated video. So sorry about that. Things have kind of been a mess recently and I'm excited for them to get like sorted back out, but I am happy to have finally like gotten this video out because it's been like in the back of my head all this time, this one and another one that happened like right after this one, so that one should be coming out pretty soon as well. And that one I think I'm even more excited for because it's very fun. So if you want to see that and if you enjoyed this video, then please do consider subscribing and I will see you in the next one. Bye.